maybe I just knew something was wrong. Something was gonna go wrong. About 10 years ago, Sean and I were working on his sketch comedy channel on YouTube called Helpstance. And this story takes place because of that channel. So on this morning, we were getting ready for a sketch comedy shoot called Fake Dog. We had a bunch of gun props to bring with us. This included 2 really beautiful long rifle replicas that a friend was letting us borrow, as well as a couple other long rifle gun props. I guess I was just feeling a lot of anxiety about touching these gun props and getting them out to our vehicle. I don't know what was going through my brain at that moment. Maybe I just knew something was wrong. Something was gonna go wrong. I guess I was just kind of freaking out about the guns because A, I'm not comfortable with them, and B, we live in a city. So the idea of having to take these gun props out to our car and put them in the car was kind of freaking me out because I was thinking, well, what if somebody sees me carrying these guns and gets nervous about it? I mean, people in the city are not used to seeing big guns. So I was just ruminating in my head and kind of mentally freaking out, but then also trying to reassure myself and kind of go through that anxiety train where you come up with what is your plan gonna be when things go wrong. I did that probably for about 15 to 20 minutes. Before getting these props out the door, I was just ruminating about it and thinking about what was going to happen if something went wrong. The guns were in this pile, and I decided because I didn't want people to see them, I was gonna wrap a towel around them. But these guns are 3 to 4 feet long each. So my towel was not nearly long enough to cover them all. So the butts are sticking out of one end of this towel. But that was my plan. I figured, I just gotta walk them 10 seconds out our door to our car. We had them in the basement. I was gonna take them out the door, up the basement stairs, across the driveway, across the lawn, and to our car that was parked out front. So after about 15 to 20 minutes of ruminating on this in my brain, what my strategy is for getting these guns out the door for, I kid you not, a 10-second journey to our car, I finally decide I'm ready and I can do this. So I pick up my pile of guns wrapped in a towel and I open that basement door. I go up the steps, I go across the driveway, no problem so far. I get out onto our front lawn, and suddenly I see this young guy with short brown hair making a beeline for me from across the street. I keep moving because I figure, you know what? I can't deal with this right now. I don't know what he wants, but I'm just gonna get these in the car. But before I can get further down the lawn, he starts waving his arm at me like he wants to talk to me. All right, here we are. I take step 1 from my mental plan when everything goes wrong. I put those guns on the ground in front of me so that I don't seem threatening. I now have a pile of rifles sitting at my feet on my front lawn, and there's some strange guy who wants to talk to me. This guy opens his mouth and I just feel my brain start to shut down. And a siren going off in my head, just beep, beep, beep. I look down at the rifles at my feet, and the towel has fallen away, and the rifles are now exposed and sitting on the ground. This was not a part of my plan. So I'm standing there, and this siren going off in my head, and this guy starts to talk to me and says, "Hey, do you have any lighter fluid I could have?" And just when he says that, I see Sean exit the front door of our house with a pile of props that he sticks in our car. And so I turn to Sean and I say, "Hey, Sean, could you get this guy some lighter fluid?" At this point, my brain is not functioning. I was hoping that in that moment, somehow Sean would save me and this guy would have to wander off with Sean to go find lighter fluid or whatever. I don't know. I just did not want to be talking to this guy with a pile of rifles at my feet on my front lawn. And that's not what happened. Sean scampers off to go find this guy lighter fluid. And I am now standing here on the lawn with rifles at my feet, having the most painful small talk of my life with this guy. It went something like, "Hey, how's it going?" from him, and me going, "It's going all right. How about you?" "Oh, I'm okay." "Great." Even though my anxious brain jumped me through all of these hoops about what could end up being the worst case scenario, somehow it still protected me from fathoming how ridiculous this event could get. While we're conversing, I see out of the corner of my eye a cop car slowly roll down the street and park about a half block from us. I see the cop get out of the car and slowly start walking up to us. He comes up and stands next to the gentleman on the sidewalk and seems to take it all in. There's me, there's the guy, and there's a pile of rifles at my feet. And then he turns to the guy and says, "So, I hear you've been asking around for lighter fluid and it's making some people in this neighborhood nervous." The guy turns and looks at me and goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make anybody nervous." And I just remember not really knowing what to say. So I just kind of said, "It's okay." And the cop put his hand on the guy's shoulder and they started walking down the street. I just kind of stood there until they were about a half block away. And then I grabbed that pile of rifles as fast as I could and ran them to the car and shoved them in the back. And that was it. So I learned a few things afterwards. Apparently, when Sean kind of went inside, he asked his dad where the lighter fluid was. And his dad is like, "Why do you need lighter fluid?" And Sean's just like, "Well, some guy outside's asking for it." Sean's dad's like, "We're not giving some random guy lighter fluid." And he was the first person to kind of like catch on that maybe there's something a little bit wrong with that situation. Apparently the guy was having a psychotic break and not really sure why, but he wanted to burn his paper belongings and he was doing it in his car. I hope the guy's doing okay. I didn't really get dangerous vibes from him at all. He just kind of seemed lost. I just kind of was burning up in my own brain at the time, so I just didn't know how to deal with it. That bad feeling I had right at the beginning of this whole incident, before I even took the guns out the door about how something was going to go wrong, ended up being validated. And I hate that because I don't really want my anxiety to win that frequently, especially over something that ridiculous. Like, I mean, to be honest, that situation was kind of crazy. Like, who would think that the one time I happened to be hauling guns out from my basement to the car is one of the few times somebody quickly approaches me and wants to talk to me. And the cops have been called on this person. Like, thank you, universe. That was interesting. Actually, I really enjoy it now. It was strange. It was really painful in the moment, but I'm all right with it. Very strange.